Good evening, everybody. Oh, that's really loud. Hapaday. This community town hall hosted by the Committee on Education, Libraries, and Public Broadcasting is officially called to order. It's truly a pleasure to be here at the home of the Islanders, John F. Kennedy High School. Today's date is Thursday, February 19, 2026, and the time is now 6:11 p.m. My name is Senator Vincent Borja, and I serve as the chairperson of the Committee on Education. And I want to thank the JFK and Sanchez community, Dr. Adamas and Ms. Meznayan, the faculty and the students for welcoming us into your home tonight. Before we dive in, I'd like to recognize Dr. McNinch, who from the Board of Education, who is joining us this evening. And for a little fun, I'd like to introduce Dr. Wonpat and her team. Just kidding, they're not here. Before we begin, we'd like to express my gratitude to the JFK High School and Simon Sanchez community who made this event possible and for hosting us this evening. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you to my hardworking staff, the committee, the legislature's AV team, and the central staff for being able to stream this important discussion live for the people of Guam. I want to thank again Dr. McNinch from the school board present tonight, and additionally the GFT representative who's here, and thank you for joining us. Tonight isn't just another meeting on the calendar. As I've said before, community engagement cannot be a one-time event. We're here at JFK because I believe in meeting you where you are, in our schools and in our neighborhoods. We're currently in a period of transition with the new leadership at the Guam Department of Education. This is the perfect time to strengthen accountability, ensure that your voice and the voice of every student and parent on Guam is central to the decisions we make at the legislature. Tonight, I'm here to listen, to facilitate a genuine discussion, and to finally address the issues that have been long-standing in our education system. Good policy starts with listening, and I want to hear what's working, what's not, and most importantly, what needs to change. Tonight is going to be an open forum. Whether you're a student, a parent, a teacher, or a concerned neighbor, the floor is yours. To make sure everyone has a fair chance to speak, there was a sign-in at the front table when you entered. If you haven't signed up, please see one of our staff members so that you're on the list. When called, please come up to the front, state your name and either your school or your village, and we ask that you keep your comments respectful. This is about collaboration and finding solutions together. Before we open the floor, I was going to allow the superintendent to do an opening, but she's not here. So I think, before we start, I think it's really the way we've done this forum or these town halls, where really the goal is for us, the legislature, who supports the Guam Department of Education, to facilitate the discussion between the students, the parents, and the teachers, and the Department of Education, while working with the board as well. Are you going to be able to speak on behalf of the board? Sure. Dr. McNinch will speak on behalf of the board, but what we were hoping was that the new superintendent and her team were here tonight to address any of the questions and concerns in regards to the double session, which I'm sure a lot of you guys, if not most of you, are here to speak on, or any other issues like maintenance, curriculum. So I'm going to apologize on behalf of hopefully she shows up on behalf of the superintendent and her team, and we'll try our best to answer based on at least the information that was shared with me, at least during some of the meetings that I've had with her. I'll go ahead and allow Dr. McNinch, if you'd like to say a few words on behalf of the board before we start.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Borja, and certainly thank you, parents and teachers and students. It's certainly my pleasure to be here with you tonight to hear some of the things that you have to say. I certainly look forward to this opportunity tonight. I greatly appreciate the invitation of Senator Borja to be here tonight. I think that being able to talk about things is very, very, very important. The Board of Education is keenly interested in listening to you. Tonight I'll be here. I won't speak on behalf of the board per se, but I will be telling my fellow board members many of the things that we're talking about and discussing here today. Your voice is important. The things you have to say are important, and we certainly appreciate you being here and you sharing your opinions with us. And I also greatly appreciate Senator Borja inviting me to be here with you tonight. I work at the University of Guam. If you graduate, come to UOG, Biba UOG, and you know, Biba JFK. Thank you.
And now we'll go ahead and invite the first person who signed up to speak, Celine Guimbaton. Hopefully I didn't screw that up. Celine, if you'd like to come up to the microphone, or to the table here. Thank you. To proceed.
Hello, everyone. I am Celine Gimbaton, and I am a current sophomore from the class of 2028. Since 7th grade, I've never had an actual idea of what home felt. Starting 6th grade in FBLG, ending up in Ukudu by 7th, and then spending my high school years 2 villages away, I've only ever had a glimpse of home. I've also never really understood the concept of school pride when we were, and still are, displaced people. It's hard to care about school spirit when we're basically just guests sitting in someone else's borrowed chairs. We aren't building memories in a hallway we can call ours. We're just waiting for a bus to take us back to another village. Why must we wait for our education? Why is there a halt in our journey? You preach that our educational community will prepare us for life, promote excellence, and provide support. But where is that support when we are drifting? There are many questions that are left unanswered, but they shouldn't be. These unanswered questions leave us to wonder why our path is uncertain. As a dancer, my passion should be a source of joy, but under this schedule, it has become a source of exhaustion. Because our dismissal isn't until 5:50 p.m., I often do not walk through my front door until 9 p.m. I'm forced to sacrifice my personal time and my sleep just to keep up with the basic demands of being a student. By the time I reach my house, I am met with chores and assignments that require energy that I simply no longer have. I hate that I have to choose between my education, my passion, and the rest I desperately need in order to keep functioning. We are told to be resilient, but resilience is a heavy burden to carry when you have no home base. It is difficult to feel connected to a school identity that only exists in the late afternoon shadows of a borrowed campus. We are essentially ghosts in a system that expects us to perform at our peak while providing us with the bare minimum of stability. You ask us for our best, yet you leave us drifting between villages and arriving home by the time dinner starts. We are tired of waiting for a future that feels like it is being held hostage by logistics and empty promises. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Celine. Tiara Oz. Ms. Tiara Blas.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tiara Blas, a senior at Simon Sanchez High School. We gather here tonight to speak about an issue that has heavily weighed on our community for far too long, the rebuilding of Simon Sanchez High School. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk from personal experience because what exactly have I been through that the entirety of my school has not? For over a decade, we have been promised a new campus. Plans were announced, ceremonies were held, hope was given, yet year after year, nothing has materialized. Generations of students have come and gone hearing the same promise. It's coming soon, but soon has stretched into decades, and the rebuilding of Simon Sanchez High School has simply never happened. For the past 3 years, the school has been fully unusable. 3 years of our children being displaced, forced to adapt to temporary arrangements that were never meant to be permanent. A school is more than walls and classrooms. It is a safe space for learning, growth, friendships, and opportunity. When that space is taken away, students lose stability. Teachers lose resources, families lose confidence, and our community loses faith. What makes this situation even more painful is a pattern we continue to see. Every time plans are announced, every time hope begins to rise, something comes to stop it. Funding complications, legal disputes, administrative delays, shifting priorities, excuses pile up, but progress does not. The cycle itself repeats so often that it no longer feels accidental, it feels systematic. It feels like rebuilding our children's schools is always placed behind something else deemed more urgent. Many in our community cannot help but feel that the government seems more concerned about protecting its reputation than protecting our children's education. We all say, quote, "We do it for our kids. They deserve to have what we never did. They're our island's future." Your words go nowhere without stable actions. Announcements are made to sound promising, press conferences highlight intentions, but intention without action does not build classrooms. I want my siblings, family, and friends to have a stable education without the broken promises, shifting in schools, and confusion on why the government does not stand on their main priority, which is the children and their education. Public image does not educate students. Our children deserve more than statements, headlines. They deserve commitment, transparency, and results. Tonight, we stand united in demanding accountability and action. Even through this process, us students still strive to go above and beyond, being NTHS members, student athletes, leaders. We're not recognized the way we should be or the way we deserve. Our students cannot afford to wait another decade. They cannot learn from promises. They cannot graduate from plans. Rebuilding Simon Sanchez High School is not a political talking point. It's a moral responsibility. Let us raise our voices, not in anger alone, but in determination. Our children deserve a safe, permanent, and fully functioning school. After decades of delay, the time for rebuilding is not tomorrow, it is now. Thank you.
Thank you. Ember Cruz. Ember Cruz.
Do they answer questions too?
Yeah.
They can?
Yeah. Or like ask them a question? Are you gonna ask them a question as well? I mean, I don't know if they want a question, right? I mean, they should be questioning us.
I mean,
Hi, my name is Ember Cruz. I am a sophomore at Simon Sanchez High School.
I mean, you can.
I've never had school pride, but I've managed to find it when my team has never hosted a wrestling match, but we still brought home island titles for our work on the mat, and we're not allowed to read JFK's library books, but my peers and I, in my fully stocked honors classes, are getting straight A's in spite of it. They tell us not to touch their books or our equipment with our displaced hands, but there's no shame in that. There's shame in how the principle of the thing has been lost to a system that seems to lack any, in the sense that not one, but 2 projects have spent years stuck in legal purgatory. It's a shame, really, but it's not our shame. It's a shame that my administration lacks the tact to budget or save to build us even a temporary shack, and that I spend my days commuting halfway across the island, half an hour to and back, and that I'm out of the house from 11 to 9 every day. Yet under these conditions, I maintain a healthy GPA, and I come to school and practice almost every day. My classmates are active members in our NHSs and SBAs. Our resilience earns us gold in almost every sport we play. So no, it's not a shame to say that I am the future. It's a shame that I won't graduate in my home village. But there's no shame in what we overcome when we walk with resilience and pride. Even with this lack of care and stability, we never cease to thrive. But imagine what we could do if we had the resources and we didn't have to be resilient. Thank you.
Thank you. Zoe Atoigui.
test. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Zoe Atoigui, and I am the current class of 2028 president. And I'm standing here today on behalf of my peers, mentors, and past alumni Sharks. I'm standing here today to express the disappointment all of the double session schools have. I am standing here today to prove that us Sharks will never stop using our voice until we are given our long-awaited promised campus. I haven't had my own campus since I was in 6th grade, from double sessioning as a middle schooler at FBLG all the way until now as a high schooler. And it's safe to say that the toll and impact that this schedule has on us parents, students, and faculty are unimaginable. As a council president, athlete, and a growing adolescent, this situation has made it beyond tiring and difficult to balance. For over a decade, students from the Simon Sanchez High School have been using our voices and have pleaded to the government to see a change towards our school. Despite that, our voices, testimonies, and experiences have all been overlooked until the event of Typhoon Mawar, which eventually caused us Sharks to physically lose our campus in 2023. It's quite impossible to explain what it feels like to want a school back, because it's not just a building, but a home. A place that holds spirit, belonging, and our pride. We've been waiting far too long for an outcome. For years, the students of Simon Sanchez High School get excited even when hearing a soon, but that soon always finds a way to turn into a later. And somehow, we're still here, still showing up, and still trying to make something meaningful out of what we've been handed. Simon Sanchez is our identity, our pride, and our future. It's far more than fighting for what's fair, it is stating what has been owed. Now carrying what I learned from classes into speaking my truth, I hope that this poem I'm about to share with you all makes it the deliberate impact it's implied to make. We deserve our school rebuilt, a place that brings together pride, a home so strong that despite the walls being pushed back and back, our hope is still alive. Not patched up plans or passing promises that fade with every year. A dream of learning freely, not in their unfinished outlines of delay. A campus that we can trust, finally our humble abode that's not borrowed for the day. A campus should lift its students, not make them split into two. This is beneath the bare minimum. Rebuilding isn't asking for much, it is simply what has been overdue. So with all that has been stated, I call on you, senators, to please understand the hardship and disappointment that comes from us students, families, faculty, and staff. We hope that this so-called soon can finally turn into our now. Although, before I end, I would like to leave you all with this question. I'm scheduled to graduate in the year of 2028. Many of us have wondered, will us Sharks finally have our home back, standing as a part of the SSHS history and its new and improved home? Or will we be stuck in this chapter of unfulfilled promises in a temporary home where our Shark pride is hidden behind another mascot's walls? Thank you all and have a good night.
Thank you. Do you want to respond?
Thank you, Senator Borja, and certainly thank you, all of our guests and students and teachers. Just a couple of quick things I just wanted to mention, and I greatly appreciate all the speakers who've spoken so far, but there's a key thing. The school board fully supports the building or rebuilding of Simon Sanchez High School, 100%. I believe Senator Borja fully and absolutely supports rebuilding Simon Sanchez High School, as do many of our elected leaders, which I don't want to recount by list because I don't know for sure, but I certainly know for sure Senator Borja, and I certainly know for sure the board members want Simon Sanchez High School rebuilt. But it's not going to be rebuilt probably for at least 4 to 5 years at a minimum. That's the pace that things are moving at right now. We're very frustrated on the board about this, and I want to let all of you know this. We're equally concerned, whether it's procurement disputes or whether it's simply people who are trying to strongly delay the process, I'm trying to, as a board member, find some way that we can help our students or even help our leaders to make this go faster. And so that's certainly one of the key things we want to do. But Simon Sanchez High School, it will not be, there won't be an opening for several years. It's even indeterminate. That is, we don't know how long it's going to take, but it's not going to be opened in the next 2 years or even 3 years, simply because of all the delays that have set in. And I just wanted to be very open with everyone about that, because I don't want you to think that I'm listening to you and that I'm not doing anything. I just want to make sure everyone hears that that's everything I know as a board member. I equally do not like it. I equally I've been trying my best to figure out other ways we can do a kind of bridge in between. And certainly that's part of it too. But certainly thank you, Senator Borja, for letting me just say a quick comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mitnick. Micah Deros.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Micah Deros, and I'm here speaking out with my fellow peers to emphasize the importance of finally having a place to call ours. So, why are we so determined to go back to our home? It's simple, because we deserve one, just like the other schools. Rebuilding Sanchez has been a big goal set before the campus was even rendered unusable after Typhoon Mawar. Prior to this incident, the campus was still considered in bad conditions from time and neglect. It's been said and heard that the campus has been shut down several times in 2010 due to unresolved health issues and safety violations. It's been 16 years since then, almost as long as I've been alive, and there still hasn't been a change, most likely not since the campus has been built. Yes, we can agree that it's a difficult and tedious process, but how much longer will it really take? How many generations of Simon Sanchez students have to spend their high school experience without proper high school? I always imagine spending my 4 years like how you'd see in the movies. For example, decorating our halls and classrooms for competitions or holidays, going to meetings after school without worrying about the time, and helping out with big events we'd probably need our own gym for. We can still do these in our temporary placement, but it sounds 1,000% better if it were in a place we can call home. But last, we're stuck in double session, and it not only makes it difficult for us, but those in JFK as well. Our school time has to be split in half in order to compensate both schools. How is that supposed to help us reach our full potential? Some students may be able to handle a weight, but think of the other half. There are a handful of students that really need the extra time to grasp the lessons being taught. Adding on, there would be more responsibilities waiting for both students and staff after a tiresome day at school that may take up time. It doesn't help now that we get out at nearly 6. I've heard our teachers say that they spend their entire night and then their morning before school trying to prepare lesson plans and finish grading. It doesn't stop just there, because they have a life too out of school. They have a family to take care of and other obligations. For us students, many of us have to fit sports, extracurricular activities, chores, and maybe part-time jobs. Doesn't that sound overwhelming? As a student of Sanchez, athlete, and an officer of my class council, I believe it is. I know it is, and a lot can agree with me. Now, they say home is where the sharks are, but it's time for a place for us to settle down. I hope that even if we don't get the chance to see the brand new campus, the future classes after us will be able to. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Sanjay Sharma.
Sanjay Sharma, Vice President of the Guam Federation of Teachers, AFT Local 1581. First off, I feel out of place entirely knowing that I'm surrounded by a bunch of heroes coming out talking about how they want Simon Sanchez rebuilt. So thank you for everyone that showed up today. Senator, thank you for your time. I will be brief. Guam's own fiscal year 25 fourth quarter salary data shows that the average classroom teacher at the core ED2 to ED4 band earns about $61.5 thousand per year. This is not a projection, it is the actual average salary being paid to current teachers in our public schools. Nationally, the average public K-12 teacher salary is now at about $72,000. That means Guam teachers are earning roughly $10,500 less per year than the national average, or about 85 cents on the dollar, compared to their peers in the rest of the United States. The 2022 Educator pay plan was an important and necessary catch-up. It raised base salaries by about 20% and corrected years of neglect, but it was a one-time adjustment. Since then, national teacher pay has continued to rise, while Guam's schedule has moved only through normal step increases. The result is that the pay gap has reopened. A typical Guam teacher at ED3 or ED4 mid-career sits in the low 60,000s, while the national average has moved past 72,000. And many high-demand states are in the $80,000 to $100,000 range. This gap has clear consequences. For recruitment, new graduates see offers elsewhere that are in the $10,000 to $20,000 higher bracket. For retention, experienced teachers can leave for better paying systems or other professions entirely. For students, it means more vacancies, more long-term substitutes, and less stability in the classroom. It also sends a damaging message that teaching Guam's children is worth less than teaching children anywhere else in this country. There are three key actions we're asking you to take. First, raise the full educator salary schedule so that the average Guam classroom teacher is paid at least 95 to 100% of the national average, not 85%. Practically, this means moving the average from about 61,500 towards the 70 to 72,000 range, and maintaining proper separation across all grades and steps, including upper management positions, to prevent wage compression. Second, index educator pay and allow real salary bargaining. We are asking you to require regular review of the educator pay plan against national salary data and Guam's cost of living, and to authorize genuine salary negotiations through collective bargaining agreements. This will prevent us from falling badly behind again, and will ensure that changes to pay are discussed transparently with the people who are actually in the classrooms. Third, fully fund the Yamashita Educator Corps Scholarship that Larry Kosmabauer had originally authored into law, and adopt a multi-year stabilization plan. Full funding of the Yamashita Scholarship builds a pipeline of homegrown teachers who are committed to serving our students rather than relying only on recruitment from outside. A 3 to 5 year plan that steadily moves Guam educator pay into parity with the national average, backed by annual reporting on vacancies and turnover, will give you and the public a clear sense of progress. In short, our teachers have already done their part. They delivered through the pandemic, they adapted to shifting expectations, and they continue to show up for Guam's children every day while earning significantly less than their national norm. We are asking you to do your part by making a clear choice to pay Guam's educators at a level that reflects their value, to invest in the scholarship pipeline that ensures we have the next generation of teachers ready to serve. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Mr. Angelo Andrades. Does that, can salaries be corrected to what?
Test. Good evening, Senator. Good evening also, Dr. McNish, and to everybody that's here tonight. I appreciate it, Senator, for allowing this town hall meeting to happen. I know there's a lot of concerns, a lot of issues, especially with the Sanchez community and also with the JFK community regarding the double session, and then also with the rebuilding of the school of Sanchez. But first of all, I just want to share my frustration and just point out that there's a lot of chairs that are missing, seats for people sitting on these tables. And I know that the people that are supposed to be sitting on there knew about this meeting or this town hall meeting a while back. For our education, the new education leadership not to be here, and also for some of the board members, the other board members not to be here, I think it's a slap on our face. The Sanchez community, the JFK community, and all the parents and everybody else that are here. It doesn't look good, Senator. It really doesn't look good. And I know you want to, this town hall meeting was supposed to be productive. It was supposed to be informative. It was supposed to be us sharing information. But the people that need to hear this are not here. It's really frustrating, right? I want to give the Sanchez community hope because the JFK community, if you look around, right, this school, it was built in 2 years. It was built in 2 years. We were at GW, we double sessioned with them 1 year. We got out of double session, we went up to Teason for 2 years, and our school got built. So just to give you hope, it can happen if you guys push it, the school community, and two, if our leaders take it seriously and actually make it happen. It can happen in 2 years. I really appreciate Mr. Damon, the PIO for GDOE. You're doing a really great job letting us know, Mr. Borja, all the wonderful progress that's been happening, right, in all the other schools, right? GW High School, the refurbishment at GW High School, 98% complete. And then you have also two schools like JQ San Miguel, 90% complete. You have Marcel Sablan Elementary, 90% complete. Ocean View Middle School, 85% complete. But it's so interesting that nothing is being mentioned about FB Leon Guerrero. Almost 4 years already, right? The school community has not had a home. And there's nothing mentioned about any progress, or there's nothing even mentioned about possible delays that might happen to prevent the school from opening. So I just wanted to actually have that dialogue, Senator, if you can go ahead and share also, because I know there's some community members in FB here that probably would like to know, what the status is with FB Leon Guerrero, and also too, since you're going to respond, hopefully, the rumor that's been circulating about the possibility, and I don't know if the students know this, but the possibility that the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students from Simon Sanchez will be going and moving to Teason as, again, an option, right, as a solution for next school year to run concurrently with Teason, and then the incoming freshmen that are coming into Sanchez will either be at FB or another building, I guess, in Jigo. Can you share a little bit about that, sir?
First, thank you, Mr. Andrades, for sharing some of the updates of the other schools. Why didn't you apply for superintendent? Just kidding. in the face of transparency, because I can only share what I hear, I know that there are some delays with FBLG. We've asked for some updates from the superintendent, which is why I'm kind of disappointed that she's not here tonight, because I know that there is some delays that needs to be shared with the community so that they understand that there could be a potential of FBLG being delayed from opening. The other thing in regards to, again, just like everybody else, and I'm not here to share rumors, but you know, from what at least I've heard from sources at the department is that double session will end for Simon Sanchez. Where that will be, again, you know, you've shared some of the speculation and the rumors in regards to Tizen. I know that's been a proposal that has been shared, and so you know, again, I'm not sure what the board is privy to in regards to that, but I know that double session for Sanchez is supposed to end, at least that was what was committed, and that I know that there is some work being discussed with DPW to address that because of busing, and so right now, again, I'm going to continue to encourage the community, the press, and I'll continue to do my part as the oversight chair for education. In fact, we'll be bringing the Department of Education into an oversight hearing in a couple weeks to press them for this information, because really, I mean, since the new administration or new team has taken over, and I'm not saying this just because she's not here, is we're left in the dark as well right now. And so I was hoping this was going to be an opportunity for us to get some kind of update from the leadership team. If Dr. Lynch wants to share what he and the board, at least their position, because ultimately the board really has more authority in moving things, at least pressing the superintendent to take action, and the superintendent reports to the board. So Dr. Lynch, if you'd like to address any of the questions that he had.
Thank you, Senator Borja, and certainly thank you, sir, for your kind comments. The board's fully committed to the schools, and I agree. I think a school could be built in a year and a half or 2 years, and it frustrates us very, very much why it can't. In fact, even trying to demolish the old Simon Sanchez High School was unnecessarily dragged out for a very, very, very long time. And we're all frustrated by that very, very much. And in terms of things that where students are going to school next year or student movements, at least my part on the board, I don't get involved with those questions. Those are mainly for the deputy superintendents to deal with. But we are on the board very, very concerned about, I don't want to say insecurity, but just the lack of good facilities for our students creates a kind of insecurity, not only for our students, but also for our teachers and for our administrators. And we're very, very aware of that. And we want to have it fixed. And there's no opposition on the board to fixing it. I think it's just, how do we get the machinery of the government bureaucracy, which has a lot of inertia, it has a lot of things that don't work well, how do we push it to work better? And I have to say, Dr. Wampat has been a very good and positive leader in my experience so far on the board with her. She's been very proactive, and she's been very sincere in everything that she said about these things. But I do believe that keeping the system on track with Simon Sanchez and also the FBLN Guerrero School, among others, these are priorities for us. And making sure that they happen is very, very, very important to us. And that would be my main comments. But certainly, thank you, sir.
Okay. If I may, Senator, just 2 more points. So I also teach at John F. Kennedy High School, and you know, I just candidly ask my students the question, right, about double session. And surprisingly, when I ask my students whether they would like to be in double session next year, a lot of them said yes. Right? This is already 3 years in double session. A lot of them said yes. So they're okay with going to school from 6:45 or 6:40 to 11:45. They're okay with that, right? It's troubling to me because, I think it's gotten to a point where now it's like, okay, well, this is the norm for us, and I guess we're okay with just being in the classroom, not meeting the expected, I guess, the time, right? Contact time like the other schools. But it's already gotten to a point where it's like normal for them. And my fear is that once we get back to, and if we get back to, going back to regular schedule, it's going to be a hard transition. That's one. The second thing that I want to point out, and this would be my last point, we know that things can happen if the leaders in our island want to make it happen. We saw it when the schools had to meet public health regulation requirements, and everybody started to come together. It still boggles me, and I don't know how or why, that it takes almost 4 years for a school to be renovated. 4 years. And in that process, I'm sure you guys know the whole issue with the collateral equipment and all that. Why is that even an issue, right? That should have been also taken care of long time ago, ahead of the actual structural work, because that could actually be controlled. Now, the structural work, the actual work done in FB, yeah, I know that there was some of these delays, right? But the collateral equipment, if that's the thing that's kind of holding up the opening of the school, or even not having a gym, right? All of those things could have been foreseen ahead of time. Now, my question now is, who is responsible? Who's responsible? Because all these delays, there has to be somebody responsible, right? I'm a teacher. If something happens in the classroom, if any of my colleagues don't do what they need to do, we're held responsible, we're held accountable, right? There has to be somebody accountable and responsible for not pushing, and not even overseeing and making sure that things are moving smoothly for the building or the refurbishment of FB, and also too with the Sanchez contract. Who's responsible? Who needs to be held accountable, right? Because if we don't hold those people accountable, if we don't hold people accountable, period, this whole thing is going to happen again, and no progress is going to happen or going to be made. So, I hope that there's somebody that's accountable, and I hope that that person either gets switched off, or somebody else that knows what they're doing gets in that position and works through it, or just something needs to happen in order for things to move forward. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. And your question was, who's responsible? I'm responsible. Senator Borja is responsible. That's why we're here. We're here because we care about everybody. We care about everybody in this room. We care about our students, 100%. And I got to tell you, I think if we're really looking at where things failed, which I think is a great question, I think it's our procurement process. I think that it's our willingness for leaders to say it's not my problem when it is our problem. And I think those are things that we can address through leadership and direct action. But I have to say, I agree, somebody should be held responsible for fumbling some of these things. And not that I want to blame anybody, but I think that failures were made somewhere along the line on these things. We've been thinking and really brainstorming. I haven't brought these up to Senator Borja or other senators personally, but I was thinking, I work at the University of Guam, and we have about 2,800 students. Our campus has a 5,000 student capacity. So I was thinking maybe that might be just a safe harbor for a few years for some of our high school students. GCC also has the same kinds of flexibilities in some degree. I'm not sure about how much, but looking at what are some of the alternatives that we have, at least in the short term, because I was a high school student. I was in a double session school for 2 years, and I hated it. I had to go to school at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and get done at 5 in the evening, and it was not something that I really liked very much when I was younger. I think that the key thing is we all have to be willing to work on these things. And when I say we all, I'm talking about the people who actually have the power and the control. Nobody in the government seems to want to do anything about our broken procurement system. They all just want to blame the procurement system. That's their answer. And that's just one example. And I don't understand it. And I'm a specialist in government, actually. And I can't understand that kind of response. But I think expecting more things from our elected leaders is a part of the equation. It's not the answer. But as far as being responsible, I am responsible. And I know that Senator Borja is responsible, 100%. And I'm willing to take the criticism for not being responsible at times if I failed. That would be my general point. But thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. McNinch. And again, to add to that, and to address your question, Mr. Andrade, I think, not I think, but I know, like this, in a lot of the different things that I've done before becoming a senator, this is one of the toughest jobs because it requires, there's only so much a senator can do. And it's sad because the accountability falls on us. And we as leaders have done a horrible job. Like, we failed. That's the bottom line. The senators before me, I think for me, it's trying to figure out, my question to the department, and that's my commitment, is always, what do we need to do from the legislatures, from a legislative standpoint, to get things moving? Like, how can we get, with the procurement, what do we need to change to ensure that when the procurement goes through that, obviously we can't do anything now because it's going through its process and we can't really speak on that. But the question is always, and even before, like when it was going through the process, was what do we need to do to make sure that it happens? And I can only, the sad thing is I can only go based on the experts, right? The people that are doing that. But again, my commitment, and I feel more bad because you guys are here, and just the disappointment in a lot of your faces, where really the superintendent should have been here. I'm really, as I sit here and look at the crowd and continue to look at the crowd, there's really nothing I can say, because the answer needs to come from them, and we need to continue to press them to provide those answers. I can sit here and speculate, and I can tell you what I'm going to ask them, because that's the only thing I can do as a senator. Because if she sits here and says, well, I need $50 million to make sure that Simon Sanchez gets billed tomorrow, then it's my job to go and find the $50 million. But that's not the question that we're trying to address today. The question is, where are we at within the process or whatever is going on? And she should be here to provide that information, whatever she could share, because of whatever is going on within the procurement. And it's sad that we don't have that answer. Because you guys are, yes, I hear you, and I'll continue to press the superintendent and her team to provide answers, and we'll continue to fight to get Simon Sanchez rebuilt, to start the construction of Simon Sanchez as soon as possible. I'll continue to press so that FBLG gets reopened, so that we can at least get them back to their village, try to figure out how to accommodate Simon Sanchez as well. But really, when it comes down to accountability, it's the government of Guam. We've done a horrible job. And really, it's sad for me to sit here and I'm going to listen to you, but really the commitment and the work needs to come from the superintendent. I'm committed to working with her and her team to ensure that happens. And I'm sorry that we have no answers tonight. And, I quit. Just kidding. But really, it's frustrating, and because again, there's only so much that a senator can do. And I'm here to listen. I will continue to push, and I will continue to press. And our commitment is that we will have an answer to your principals in regards to what information we get. And so thank you again for you guys coming out, and hopefully we don't waste your time. I feel like we're wasting your time because the people with the answers that are not here. So now we'll move to Gabriel, can't really read the last name, Gabriel Kalanayan from Simon Sanchez High School.
Resilience. This is what every Simon Sanchez student possesses. Good evening, Senator Borja. My name is Gabriel Kalanayan. I am a junior at Simon Sanchez High School. I am this year's Student Body Association Vice President, and next year I will graduate as part of the first class to have never stepped foot on the original Simon Sanchez campus. I stand before you today not to convey my frustration, but to show how our school has remained resilient, remained strong, and continued to succeed despite years of pushback and broken promises. In the beginning of the school year, I and the Student Body Association made a commitment to rebuild our school's identity. We brought back the school song and made all the students learn it. We revived Homecoming and Shark Fest after many years of not having one. We're bringing back school competition through our biggest event of the year, Sharkcella, and we continue to hold our annual events with school spirit and pride. All of this without a home. But none of this would have been possible without the students themselves. They are the ones holding our identity together. Our sports teams, cheer team, dance team practice late into the night. Our JROTC drill teams conduct practice in pitch darkness. Our afternoon sports and academic teams miss important class time in order to attend their games. There are many students who are willing to join extracurriculars, but are unable to because of ride concerns or the sacrifices they have to make in order to participate. It is a struggle to balance it all, but we remain resilient. Most of us in our school only know double sessions. In my personal opinion, I see the students getting comfortable with our schedule, but comfort doesn't mean contentment. We are not content with the situation. The rebuilding of Sanchez is the only way to ensure that our resilience isn't wasted. We have proven that we could succeed in the dark, in double sessions, and without a campus. But imagine what we could achieve with our own school. I believe this schedule no longer suits the students of Simon Sanchez or JFK. I urge the leaders on this matter to prioritize a solution that truly benefits the students and our families. If the time wasn't then, the time is now. Bring us back home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Gabriel. I don't want to butcher this next name, so I'm going to call Miss Carol. Sorry. Can you tell me how to say your name?
My name is Shane Corrali.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, leaders and members of our community. I stand before you tonight not just as a student, but as a representative of the Sharks. Students who carry pride, hope, and a vision for the future of Simon Sanchez High School. Again, my name is Shane Corrali, and I am the Vice President of the junior class of 2027, as well as a member of the National Honor Society. In regards of the rumors that were mentioned earlier today, I just want to say that the students here in Simon Sanchez are much stronger when we are united, because we share a common desire, the rebuilding of our home school. We all know each other, our histories, and the power of our voices when we come together. Even under the strain of double session, we have persevered. As Vice President, I have organized after-school practices of Sharkcella, a school-wide event that allows students to step out of their comfort zones, challenge their creativities, and bring our families together. But these opportunities come at a cost, because practices run until 9 to 10 at the night, leaving students to rush home to finish homework past midnight, only to wake up before 11 a.m. to catch the school bus. However, these difficulties did not break us. They have strengthened our resolve and has shown that when Sharks work together, we do not just survive, we thrive. But perseverance alone is not enough. A fully rebuilt Sanchez is not just a building, it is the foundation of our growth, our learning, and our future. The delay in rebuilding affected more than 1,000 students. It limited our education, our opportunities, and our ability to grow as student leaders. With a fully rebuilt Sanchez, students could engage in activities without restrictions, having more time to rest and focus, volunteer meaningfully in their communities, and plan their career paths beyond high school. We could flourish in ways that our current campus simply cannot support, whether it be academically, socially, or creatively. I will admit that I feel frustrated seeing how much time has passed with hope for rebuilding still unfulfilled. But I also feel proud of every accomplishment, every event, and every initiative our students have carried out despite the limitations we faced. And you know why? It's because that pride comes from our unity, resilience, and the shared vision we have for our future. Every day we wait is a lost opportunity for students to reach their full potential. We want a school that matches our ambition, creativity, and commitment. We want it because we deserve it. We want a home where Sharks can thrive. Ultimately, what we want as a community is simple. We want to stay together, to grow together, and to flourish in a school that reflects our dedication, resilience, and ambition. The delay in rebuilding Simon Sanchez High School does more than postpone constructions. It delays the growth every student who calls this school a home. Senators, we ask you today to recognize the power of our community, to invest in our future, and to give us a school that matches our spirit and potential. When Sharks are given the right environment, there is no limit to what we can achieve. Together, we can ensure the legacy of Simon Sanchez High School is not just preserved, but also strengthened for generations to come. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. We'll go, next is Eliza Emma Evangelista. And what I want to share, just so everybody knows, it's not a funding problem. There is money to build Simon Sanchez. So just so everybody knows, it's not a money problem. It's a process, procurement, and we're working through that. And like Dr. McNinch said, our procurement process is it's probably one of the worst in the nation. So I just wanted to make sure I share that. Thank you. Go ahead and you can start, Ms.
Good evening. My name is Elisa Emma Evangelista, and I'm a junior at Simon Sanchez High School. When prompted with this task, I knew that I'd have so much to say, yet when it came time to put words into the document, I was speechless. What I'd like to start off with saying is thank you for taking the time to hold this meeting here and lending an open ear to the students and staff of my school, as well as our community. I heard you mention that the superintendent should have been here, so I ask that you forward the messages shared tonight. I'll first address the impact of the 12 to 5 schedule on myself and students alike and what a rebuild would mean to our community. Sanchez goers, like myself, don't make it home until after 6:30 p.m., even later for some people. It goes without saying that this impacts and takes a toll on everybody's lives. This means we have to immediately tackle our household responsibilities, tend to our family members, do our homework and projects, study, prepare for the next day, and somehow manage to fit in a meal and sleep at a reasonable time after all of this, only to pick it back up the next day. Let us not be selfish to say it only affects us, because I know that JFK, Ukudu, and FB students are set back just the same. The 12 to 5 schedule has forced us, and in turn them, to rearrange our lives, meaning there isn't much time to participate in anything outside of school during the week. This has a domino effect. The absence of students has effects on their families. Athletes are forced to either have early morning practices or ones that end extremely late, leaving working students also at a disadvantage. The admin and staff are also affected. Adults have more responsibilities and things to worry about, so this schedule hurts them just as much, if not more, than it does the students. In my last year of middle school, we transitioned into double session from FB's campus to Ukudu's. I originally had planned to say that it put me at an advantage that shouldn't even exist, but I realized throughout tonight that most of my classmates have endured double session just as I have, and that they will continue to endure it until a change comes. While I maintain a shred of confidence that Simon Sanchez will someday be rebuilt, I know that it won't happen anytime soon, especially not before I graduate next school year. I have no doubt that this is a joint effort between numerous agencies, that you are similarly as passionate about the rebuild as we are, and that this is no easy feat by any means. But let me remind you that a new campus was promised when I started high school. Let me remind you that a new campus has been promised since my sister and cousin were in high school, and they're 2016 graduates. I do mourn the fact that we were promised slight movement in the journey to our new school last year, only for the groundbreaking to be stopped, but let's look at the benefits a new campus would provide. Even if I won't be able to experience a new campus, it'll benefit my family members starting high school, and we as a community would be able to proudly say that we participated in the fight to getting a new school, and that we participated in making a change. Not only that, but the past, present, and future generations and residents of Jigo will feel a sense of pride knowing that our school was fought for and successfully got. The incoming students will have a stable place to focus on learning, and other schools enduring double session will revert back to the normal they deserve. All I ask, if this is not enough, is that you think about the students. Think about the students who have to work just as hard at home. Think about the students who have younger siblings or family members to watch over. Think about the students working to help their family live comfortably. Think about the students from way back then who woke up with the hope that our school would someday be rebuilt. Think about the teachers, think about the staff, think about everybody who are affected. Think about the students who can't spend time with their family because of their school schedule. Think about the students who can't afford the journey from Jigo to Tamuning. Think about the people. Should you leave, taking away only one thing, let it be that the events that transpired today, the testimonies delivered, and the community who showed up inspire you and ignite a flame in your being that will drive you and politicians alike to correct this injustice once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I don't want to butcher this one either. It's K-H-E-Z-Z-Z-E-A-H. How do you say that? Zaya. Kazea. Thank you.
Test. Hello. Good evening, leaders, senators, and members of our community. My name is Kazea Crisena, and I am the Public Relations Officer for class of 2027 at Simon Sanchez High School. I'm here today to share why rebuilding Sanchez is important to me, my peers, my family, and my community. Rebuilding Sanchez is important to me because my class may never have the chance to step foot on our campus. We proudly call ourselves Sharks, but many of us have never experienced what it feels like to walk into the school that represents us. As a class council, we have worked hard to build school spirit and pride, even without a campus of our own. Still, it is difficult knowing that our high school experience has been shaped by something that we are missing, a place to call home. Rebuilding Sanchez gives us more than just classrooms. It gives us a home where we can grow, build memories, and feel connected to one another. It gives us a place It gives us a space to celebrate achievements, hold events, and create traditions that future students can look forward to. As student leaders, we believe that having our own campus would allow us to fully experience what it means to be part of a school community. Right now, we lead without a home. We plan events without a true gathering place and try to build school pride without a campus to represent us. With our own school, we could bring students together in meaningful ways, create traditions that last beyond graduation, and finally feel connected to the place we call Simon Sanchez High School. One tradition that shows why this matters is Shark Fest. Shark Fest used to be held after school on the school campus, where the Jigo community could come together to celebrate achievements, network, and showcase our school pride. There were games, entertainments, and opportunities for clubs to showcase their hard work. It was an event that welcomed families and students from other schools, which allowed them to see what we students were proud of. It brought life and energy to the school, and families even helped out with the booths. As a class council officer, I know that our council would have loved to invite our families together to support our class and the school itself. But our class is different. We are the first cohort to experience high school without a true campus. Because of this, we have never felt the full connection with the Jigo community that once united families, students, and our staff. It has been hard to build with the same sense of belonging and school spirit without a place to gather, celebrate, and show our pride. Because we no longer have access to our campus, Shark Fest is now held behind the gates of John F. Kennedy High School. While we are grateful to still have a place to hold it, I can't guarantee that it feels the same for the rest who have experienced the festivities back at the old campus. I feel sad knowing that I may never be able to invite my family onto a Sanchez campus to see what my school has to offer. Events like Shark Fest should be open and welcoming, giving our families the chance to celebrate their children's efforts and accomplishments. Right now, that opportunity is limited by the hurdles and restrictions we face, and as a class, we feel the impact. We all share the feeling of missing out on traditions that previous Sanchez students enjoyed, and we hope to one day have the same chance to create lasting memories. Rebuilding Sanchez matters to my family because they want to see where I go to school and what I'm a part of. They enjoy attending events, walking on campus, and feeling connected to the place that represents my education. I believe that it would be wrong to have families watch their children graduate from a school they have never set foot in. Graduation should be a moment of pride that happens in the place where students learn, grew, and made memories. Our families deserve to see the campus that shaped their children's education. Rebuilding Sanchez matters to the Jigo community as Sanchez was once a place that brought people together. Rebuilding it would restore that sense of connection and provide a space for future generations to learn, grow, and succeed. This presents an opportunity to invest not only in us students today, but in the future of our island. I remain hopeful because I believe our voices matter. I believe that rebuilding our school can give students what we have been waiting for, a place to learn, to gather, and to feel proud of who we are. My class may not get to experience everything, but we are hopeful for the future generations that can. So today, I respectfully ask you to take action. Prioritize the rebuilding of Simon Sanchez High School. Give us students a place to call home, families a campus to be proud of, and our community, a school that brings us together again. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Ariani Alburo.
Okay, I will cut up my testimony a bit since some points were already brought up. Good evening, Senators. I am Ariane Alburo, a Senator for class of 2027. We are aware that there have been issues about which company the construction contract belongs to, and that a protest by one such company infamously stopped the groundbreaking of our campus. Still, we want to stress the importance of our education and future students' education over business opportunities. The main priority should be to meet a critical need of our island, to construct a well-built school, not to make a profit. It is crucial to remember that these are real future adult lives being affected every day we do not have a school, and the number of these lives is multiplying. Sooner or later, the memories of students attending Simon Sanchez will be tarnished by the absence of something we so rightly deserve and the encumbering consequences that came with it. Then slowly, the spark of the youth will be extinguished. Additionally, we are all unsure of the plans for next year. We keep hearing rumors that we'll be moving to Tizan or we'll be split up. And that's difficult to hear for us, just like you mentioned. The superintendent should be here. And as a school, we're disappointed. And that leads me to two questions, if I might ask. Regarding the procurement protests, is there any chance to change procurement laws to limit protests?
So to answer your question, yes. Can we change it now while it's in protest? No. But there is a, how do I say it? If it were up to me, I'd make it a lot easier. There's just a lot of collaboration because we have to get, it takes 8 votes in the legislature to change the procurement law. The reason why they believe that the procurement law needs to be as crazy as it is, it's supposed to help prevent people from being corrupt or stealing from the government or abusing and so there's a lot of research that needs to go into if we change the law, how do we make it so that it makes it fair for everybody, but it also doesn't make it easy for people to steal from the government.
Just to tell you my view on this, and thank you, Senator Borja, I do agree with what you said. I think years ago, Guam adopted a system from California and didn't realize we're not California. Why can't we have a procurement system that fits our community and serves our public? It's incredible that we can't seem to do anything about it. I just can't believe we can't fix it. And I think part of it is a lot of people years ago, this isn't something Senator Borja brought on board. This is years and years and years ago, some board legislative staffer cut and pasted a very complex system and said, California uses it, why don't we too? It just doesn't work. And I think realizing that it doesn't work is a part of the problem that we need to solve. That is, it simply doesn't work. And I don't even think it can be fixed. I think they need to dump the whole thing and start over. That's what I think. And again, I'm probably not alone in this, but it only happens when good people like you speak up. And that's why we need to hear this tonight. And congratulations on having the courage to be here, young lady. Thank you.
Yeah, we'd just like to stress on that importance, especially because it's delaying a critical need, the rebuild of our school. And my next question, what is our status for next year? Where are we staying, if you have any knowledge?
What is the status for
If I had it my way, we would start a 12th grade academy at the university in GCC. That would affect maybe 1,000 students, so we relieve some of the pressure to allow those seniors in high school to get college credit at the same time and and relieve some of the space on the campuses. That's one suggestion. But as far as Simon Sanchez High School is a intact school, I think we have few choices other than to try to make some of the accommodations we're making now. But if I had it my way, we would definitely use UOG and GCC, even if we're just using the classroom spaces and other spaces, because there's space there. It's just not used. And it takes good work from people like Senator Borja to try to negotiate between the Guam Department of Education and the university and the Guam Community College to let them use that space. I think if they wanted to bring over the entire Simon Sanchez High School and balance it probably between those open spaces, it could be done. But we just have to have leaders who have the will, who want to do those kinds of things.
And if the sharing campuses with GCC and UOG don't work, what is your second option?
Well, certainly it would be, I think it's what's being done now, which is the distribution and making relationships with places like JFK or others. I think that's the traditional fallback. It's not the optimal scenario, but I think that there may be other options we just haven't thought of yet. And that's one key thing I want to take a look at myself, or what are the other options? There was one person in the community said, and I'll tell you just what they said, it's not necessarily my belief, why do we need to build a new high school at all when we have so few students in our current high school or current schools? I don't necessarily agree or disagree with that. I'm just telling you what I've heard from various people. But I do believe that our students need to have a safe learning environment, a good learning environment, and one that, so you don't feel like you're refugees. I think that's the consensus I'm hearing from many of our students, is you're having to go from place to place, and that's not fair to any of you.
Okay, and once again, we'd just like to emphasize the importance of figuring out where we're staying next year, especially because the school year is ending in 3 months. And you know, some teachers have a lot of equipment that's not easy to move around.
Understand. I think, you know, in regards to your question, let me go back to the question in where I think you're going to go, and it's not because I know, but what I do know from based on facts, and this was discussions that was had with Dr. Swanson, and then even just the different alternatives with the new superintendent. One was FBLG, because at least before Dr. Swanson left, FBLG was projected to be completed in March of 2026. I doubt that is the case, because as of today, they're saying that there's a delay. And if that was supposed to happen, then FBLG was going to go back to go back to GIGO, and then at worst case scenario was that Simon Sanchez would double session with JFK, because then that would bring you back to GIGO. And then the second proposal, again, I wish the superintendent was here to confirm or deny, or at least kind of share what is being discussed. But really the other realistic solution was to share a campus with Tizen. That would be the only other realistic to get everybody out of double session, meaning FBLG would go back to FBLG, Simon Sanchez would go share a campus with Tizen, JFK would go back to a regular session, regular schedule. Again, we're going to hope that after tonight that the superintendent says something. We will follow up and issue any kind of release in regards to what we get from them. But based on the current resources and what is projected to happen based on construction plans with FBLG especially, is that those are the only two options right now that are on the table.
And one of them is sharing campuses with Tizen.
Yes.
Is that really viable though? Because
I don't want to, so that's going to be a question that we need to pose with the superintendent when she announces whatever the options are. But again, I'm only speaking on behalf of myself, not on behalf of the superintendent, because those were the options that were presented to me as being realistic to get the schools out of double session. We also need to go back to the board committed, not him, but the former board chair committed to end double session. So we'll look forward to seeing what that proposal is. And again, I'm sorry, because again, I was hoping that the leadership would be here to be able to answer these questions. The town hall was really designed for us to come together. They talk about what their plans are. We address what the legislature can do to support. But my apologies, again, the leadership team is not here to really address those questions. I'm only sharing what I think and know based on the facts and the information that was shared with me.
okay, thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Jonavi Abaya.
Test. Good evening. My name is Jonavi Abaya. I'm a teacher here at Simon Sanchez High School. I want to keep this brief because the students' voices are incredibly important. I have several testimonies from my students that I'd love to give to you, and hopefully you have time to read it. But I'd like to share a story about my time as a student. It was 2011. I was a senior walking the halls of Simon Sanchez High School, the school crest proudly sitting on my chest. Yet, even back then, mold made homes in ceilings. Rats hid in plain sight. Floors whimpered as if in pain, already carrying years of neglect. Still, talks of a new school spread like wildfire, sparking a light strong enough for us to keep going. 2015, my first year back, but this time as a proud, naive, yet hopeful teacher of Simon Sanchez High School. The crest was no longer on my chest, but engraved in my blood, my heart. Yet, even then, ceiling tiles fell from the slightest vibration of footsteps. Water leaked onto ceilings and floors. AC units broke in windowless rooms, suffocating the air inside that even fans couldn't help circulate. Rooms were deemed uninhabitable, forcing teachers to share spaces, migrating like nomads between classes, finding ways to make four walls feel like home in a home that was supposed to be home. But here's the thing. At least we had a home back then. It was decrepit, barely holding together, but it was holding long enough for us to keep going. And then 2023, Typhoon Mawar hit. Our school now condemned, deemed unfit, unsafe, dangerous, a health hazard. But that's something I could have told you about our school since 2011. But the difference? Now it's official. And we are forced out of our home into the halls of another. Obviously, this new building is nicer. It's more comfortable, working ACs and all. But it's not ours. And once again, talk of a new school spread like wildfire, rekindling hope strong enough to keep us going. And now here we are. It's February 19, 2026, 15 years of conversations, plans, meetings, hearings, and nothing to show for it. A blueprint on a paper, public hearings that end in actionless words. 15 years of students waiting for a campus they deserve. Because every year we delay, another class graduates without ever knowing what it feels like to call Sanchez home. Another generation learns in borrowed spaces between shifting schedules, between uncertainty and patience. But our students have been patient long enough. So today I'm asking, not just as a former student, not just as a teacher, but as someone who has lived every chapter of this story, please rebuild Simon Sanchez High School. Not 5 years, not 4 years, if we can, as soon as possible. Give our students the stability they deserve. Give this community its home back, because our students shouldn't have to keep waiting. Thank you.
Thank you. Emily Mendoza. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who do you teach? Oh, very nice.
Had a lot of students write poems.
Okay, very nice.
Erilane or Emilane Mendoza. Did I say that correctly? Did I screw that up?
Test. Hafa a day. My name is Emily Mendoza, and I stand here today as a student who has never truly had a permanent campus to call home. Since my freshman year, I've shared space with JFK High School. Before that, at FB Leon Guerrero Middle School, we shared with Ukuru High School. For most of my education, learning has taken place in borrowed spaces, and I'm tired of waiting. A school is more than classrooms and buildings. A school is where students find identity, where pride grows, where memories are made, and where young people begin building their future. But when you share campuses year after year, everything feels temporary. School schedules are adjusted, resources are divided, spaces are limited, and students are left feeling like guests, not a community with a home of our own. We are grateful for the schools that have welcomed us, but gratitude does not replace stability. Jigo Guam deserves a fully functioning high school. Students deserve a place built for their learning, their growth, and their future. Sanchez High School represents generations of families, memories, and community pride. Rebuilding it is not just about construction. It is about dignity. It is about fairness. It is about finally giving students something many of us have never experienced: permanence. Education should not feel temporary. Opportunity should not be delayed. Our future should not be postponed. Students have adjusted. Students have been patient. Students have waited. We have waited. Now it's time to build. Rebuilding Sanchez High School means rebuilding stability for Jigo Guam. It means rebuilding pride. It means rebuilding opportunity for generations to come. We don't just need classrooms. We need a home. Sito us maasi.
Thank you. Trevin Atogwi.
Hafaday, my name is Trevin Atoigui. I'm the Vice Speaker of the 35th Guam Youth Congress and a junior here at John F. Kennedy High School. I have lived through double session since my freshman year, not knowing what to expect since the time I walked through that gate after the summer of 8th grade year. I have also started school alongside my classmates as early as 6:10 a.m. and ending at 11:05 a.m. That isn't so long in a school to get our proper education. Today we begin at 6:30 and leave at 11:45. It is a slight improvement, but it is still far from what our students deserve. I have said this before in previous GEB meetings, and I'll continue to say it. We do not mind hosting Simon Sanchez here at our beautiful school. We welcome the Shark family, and we are proud to share our beautiful campus with them. But they deserve a place to call their own. Not a second home, but a permanent home. As a representative in the Guam Youth Congress and the oversight chair of the Committee on Education and Youth Affairs, I want to assure my constituents that while the Youth Congress may not hold the strongest legislative power, we hold a strong, unwavering voice. And we use that voice for you, all of you. We hear your concerns, we feel your frustrations, and we stand with every single one of you. Throughout my term in the Guam Youth Congress, it has raised this issue time and time again. We have pushed, questioned, and advocated, and we will continue to do so until we see results. We will not give up now, not ever. Our students deserve better. Our teachers deserve better. And our island deserves better. And I'll continue fighting until we see real and lasting change. But let me be clear. This is not just about schedules or buildings. This is about the learning environment we need to thrive. It is about ensuring that our teachers, who give so much of themselves are supported with the resource and stability they deserve. And it is about showing the youth that when something is broken, we do not simply accept it, we fix it. The future of Guam sits in our classrooms every single day. They're tired, but they are hopeful. They are frustrated, but they are resilient. And they are watching to see if the leaders of today will rise in the split moment. I stand here because I believe we can. I believe we must, and I believe we will. I want every single one of my constituents here today to know that the Youth Congress will continue to advocate, to question, and to demand progress. We will continue to amplify the voices of students who feel unheard. And we will continue to remind every decision maker that education is not an expense, it is an investment in the future of our island. Change will not come overnight, but I will keep speaking up alongside my 32 other colleagues in the Guam Youth Congress. And we will continue to fight for every single student here on Guam, regardless if you are in double session with JFK, Simon Sanchez, Ukuru, and FB. Let's fight together, let's continue to rise together, and we will bring the change as Guam's future leaders. Ondonklo na si Jesus Maasis, and Viva JFK and Viva Simon Sanchez.
Viva. Thank you. James, I'm gonna screw this up. James, Uherewar. Sorry, I don't want to mess it up. Thank you.
Bonus and half a day. Good evening, parents, teachers, staff, and students. My name is James Uherewar, and I'm a junior with the class of 27 and a proud Islander. And I just wanted to emphasize again the concerns of us students, parents, and teachers. The double session has been a huge problem amongst us students, teachers, and parents who live across the island. Action hasn't been evident, whilst talks have been extremely evident. And making us wait and wait, prolonging the process of the reconstruction of Simon Sanchez High School, is only going to make we as a community continuously voice our opinions and concerns on the situation. Although the board is trying their best to successfully achieve an outcome, we as students unfortunately keep waiting anxiously for something to happen. And as stated, the delays definitely were a deciding factor in the continuous extension of the double session. Students continue to suffer from our limited allotment of educational time, to sports practices being so late into the day, to the effort is acknowledged, and the responsibility that has been laid onto you all is overwhelming. However, we as students, teachers, and parents continue to wait for the double session to end and return back to our normal bell schedules. The board can definitely expect more and more protests filled with frustration and irrefutable words from the people of Guam, especially from the students of both John F. Kennedy High School and Simon Sanchez High School. Furthermore, we as Islanders will welcome our shark peers, but as time goes on, we will continue our search for answers. Thank you for your time and consideration of our concerns.
Thank you. Ms. Ava Uggan.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Ava again. Nice to meet you guys. I'm a senior at JFK. I'm an Islander. And I don't have any questions for you guys. I would just like to say that it is so disappointing to see all these people here. Nobody in this audience is obligated to be here, but they're taking the time out of their day to be here in attendance, and the rest of these board members cannot reciprocate. The majority of these board members cannot reciprocate. And on top of that, I'm not sure what Miss Superintendent Judy Wonpat has going on, but it just does break my heart to see her lack of attendance. And yeah, I would just like to say that Miss Judy Wonpat and the rest of the board members are not here to listen to these brave students and teachers, and are not here to be held accountable about how they have affected all of these people's lives. All of these people's lives, including mine. As a senior, never did I imagine spending my final year in high school like this, in double session, having to evacuate right after the bell rings because Simon Sanchez is coming in, and I can't imagine how the other school feels about not even having a campus. So it just does break my heart and disappoint me and so many other people in my school community's hearts to see her lack of attendance and everybody else's lack of attendance. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huggen.
Yes,
I want to
hello.
point out that you spoke without any notes.
I didn't.
No devices.
No.
That's very noteworthy.
Oh, thank
And you spoke very well, and it was obvious you spoke from the heart.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Rickamel Macaranes. Hi, thank you. Appreciate you.
I have to eat or I'll pass out. Sorry.
Test. Hello, my name is Ricamo Rose Macaranas, and I am currently the class of 2028 treasurer. 2022 was the last year I knew what normal meant. Back when I went home at a reasonable time, when classrooms weren't borrowed, when the bell didn't feel like a timer counting down someone else's day. Since 7th grade, we've been living in shifts. At FBLG, we had to pack up our books and carry them all the way across to Ukuru. Middle schoolers learning what it meant to be guests before we even learned algebra. And now as Sharks from Simon Sanchez High School, we line up in the afternoon shadows outside the gates of JFK, waiting for the morning students to leave so that we can borrow the sunlight that's left. They call it double session, like it's just a scheduling term, like it's clean, organized, and temporary. But double session feels like living in between. Morning belongs to them, and afternoon belongs to us. And somewhere in the middle, our sense of permanence disappears. I may be smart, but intelligence doesn't stretch time. You can't fit a full education into a shortened bell schedule without something being cut away. Clubs get squeezed out. Practice times fade into dusk. Opportunities shrink, like shadows at sunsets. They say it's just logistics. They say it's just until next year. They've been saying next year since I was small enough to believe it. The rebuilding will start next year. How many next years can fit into one childhood? Every promise, every meeting, every speech sounds polished, but echoes in empty classrooms that aren't ours. I'm not homeless. I have a room. I have walls. But tell me why walking onto someone else's campus feels like sleeping in a hotel room, careful not to touch anything and careful not to belong. We're told to have school spirit, to cheer, to represent. We're sharks, but how do you swim when you've been kept away from your own ocean? The longer we stay away from our waves, the more we feel like islanders stranded on borrowed shorelines. We may not be Humpty Dumpty sitting on a wall, but every promise they make seems to have a great fall. And what hurts the most is not the early mornings or the late afternoons or the compressed class periods. It's the feeling of being paused, like our education is buffering, like our future is loading and loading. While speeches are made about progress, we don't want pity, we want permanence. We don't want facades, we want foundations. We don't want another next year. We want a first day on a campus that doesn't feel temporary. We gave you guys double the chances, you gave us double session. 2022 was the last year I experienced normal. I don't know when the next normal will come, but when it does, I hope it sounds like the locker slamming in a building built for us. I hope it smells like fresh paint instead of borrowed air. I hope it feels like the waves returning to sharks, who never stop swimming even on dry land. Thank you.
Thank you. Shayana Mobita.
Hello, good evening. Okay, I'll try to keep this brief. Try. Okay. My name is Shayana Movida, and I am a proud graduate of Simon Sanchez High School class of 2025. On May 1st, thank you. On May 1st, 2024, I was in this same position when there were no empty chairs. Speaking on behalf of my peers, and I never thought I would be here once again. Yet today, our students, faculty, and staff are still facing the continued delays in rebuilding what we call our home. For a refresher, I spoke about the obstacles we faced as student athletes, balancing school, adjusting practice schedules, and constantly searching for a gym to practice in. During my basketball and volleyball seasons, we struggled to find stable spaces to practice, moving from place to place, never truly feeling settled. And sadly, they're still facing the same problems. Gym space was just one of many obstacles students should never have to face. Students should not be carrying the weight of problems that are long overdue for resolution. We should not be expected to accept temporary fixes as permanent solutions. We should not have to keep adjusting to delays that feel endless. As a recent graduate, I, along with many others, am truly grateful to the students and faculty of John F. Kennedy High School for opening their campus to us. But at the end of the day, we are guests. We all respect and appreciate their hospitality. It is a constant reminder that I, as a student graduate, and many others do not have a place to fully call our home. Up until this day, I can still walk into this gym and not consider it my home, even though it was labeled under home games, along with celebrating senior nights, cheering alongside our peers, all while being surrounded by trophies, banners, and achievements that belong to another school. It was our moment, our memories, yet it never felt like it was ours. Every time I step onto this campus, it just reminds me that our home is still waiting to be realized. I'm here again, not just as a graduate, but as someone who still believes. I believe our current students deserve stability, their own classrooms, proper facilities, safe and sanitary environments, and a campus they can truly be proud of. It's very unfortunate for me to ask you to relay the message to those we were supposed to fill these chairs. We're not asking for perfection, but asking for progress, for accountability, and most importantly, action. I have heard the word promise far more times than I have seen it fulfilled. And with every delay, that word loses its meaning. As many people say, actions speak louder than words. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Hannah Torrente.
Buenas and half a day, everyone. So my name is Hannah Faith Torrente, and I stand as an officer for the Student Body Association and National Honor Society. I stand before you as one of the last remaining students who actually knew what it was like to be a Simon Sanchez student on our own ground. For most students today, the old campus is just a story, but for me, that 1 year I spent was everything. It was the one high school movie I dreamed of my entire life. I remember walking through the halls and feeling a sense of ownership and belonging that you simply cannot replicate when you are a guest in someone else's house. I remember the magic of Shark Fest. It wasn't just a school event. It was like a carnival that belonged to the whole community. The energy was electric. People from all over the island, even those who didn't attend Sanchez, would come over and they could feel our spirit. We were loud, we were vibrant, and we were home. We took it all in, every rally, every game, every moment, because it was ours. We didn't have to ask permission to exist, we just were here. But look at where we are now. That movie has been cut short, and its place in its exhausting, soul-crushing reality of double sessioning. For years, we have been enduring the needs and restrictions of another school. We are living our lives in shifts, squeezing our education and shifts into leftover hours of the day. It is heartbreaking to lead a student body that is constantly being told to wait, to be patient, and to shrink themselves into a space that isn't theirs. How long are we expected to survive on hope, promises, or prayers alone? We've been hoping for years. We've been praying for a groundbreaking that feels like it's never coming. We are tired of the delays, tired of the excuses, and honestly, we are tired of the wait. We've been held back for so long. A generation of sharks is graduating without knowing what it feels like to have a home. But I want to make this one thing clear. The sharks are strong. Even without our own building, our spirit hasn't crumbled. We have endured more than any student body should have to, and we have done it with grace. But grace should not be mistaken for or used as an excuse for your inaction. We will not stop speaking up, we will not stop showing up, and we will not stay silent until the promises made to us are kept. We deserve our home, we deserve our movie, we deserve Simon Sanchez back. In conclusion, I am here to remind you that a school is more than just a project on a piece of paper or a budget item line. It is a heartbeat of our youth. Every day that passes without a Sanchez is another student losing their chance at a movie they deserve. We have shown you our resilience, and we have proven that Shark Spirit cannot be broken by a double session schedule or a borrowed campus. But we shouldn't have to be quaint to be this strong just to get an education. We are done being the guest school. We are done waiting in the wings. We are the Sharks. We are loud, and we will not stop speaking until the first brick or floor is made and laid. So please, don't let my memories be the last ones. Give us back our home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Aisha Torrente.
Test. Good evening, everyone. My name is Aisha Torrente, a current freshman at Simon Sanchez High School, and I am here representing the class of 2029. I'm not just here because my honors biology classmates stared at me as soon as my teacher said that we should speak here, but I am here because I also asked a lot of my peers for their stories. As Code 29's president, I stand here not just advocating for myself, but those who have been adjusting to the circumstances that are beyond our control. Since the second semester of my 6th grade year back in 2023, I have been in double session at Okudu High School. What should have been temporary has become our normal. My classmates and I have never really experienced a full campus environment from middle school and now in our freshman year of high school, which is something that no student or no teacher should have to say. A lot of us have adapted to our shorter schedules and fewer campus activities and the sense of constant change. My class has never had the chance to truly experience campus traditions or simply the regular routine of a typical high school day in our own campus, despite the fact that high school is supposed to be the time for development, leadership, pride, and community. Every day, I see the perseverance of my peers in their faces, but despite all of these obstacles. We participate in our events, push ourselves in our studies, whether we are in an honors class or not. We have never stopped aiming for the stars. Resilience, however, is not to be confused with contentment. Although we have adapted, this does not make it acceptable. I respectfully ask that you recognize rebuilding our school, not just Sanchez, but also FB. Not as a construction project, but as an investment for the students of Guam. We only get 4 years of high school, and we have already spent roughly 2 years in double session, so do not make 2026 the third. Those experiences cannot be returned to us. Rebuilding Simon Sanchez would restore responsibility, pride, and opportunity for both current and future students. It would show that our education truly matters for the future of our island. We are doing our part by showing up, leading, and working hard every single day. Now that we ask the leadership of our island to match that commitment by moving forward without further delay. Sharks are built to move forward, and if they stop, they sink. We have kept moving forward despite every obstacle that is placed in front of us, but we should not have to keep moving in uncertainty. Give us our campus, give us our future that we have already waited for too long. Thank you.
Thank you. That was our last speaker. Are there any questions from anybody in the audience before we close? No questions? Last call? No comments. Okay, I'll go ahead and close. But before we close, I want to sincerely thank the students, families, and educators of the Simon Sanchez and JFK communities for being here tonight. Your time, your presence, and your willingness to engage, despite the ongoing challenges of double session, deserve genuine appreciation. But I also want to say something more important. I'm sorry. To the students whose school experience has been disrupted, to the parents whose lives have been repeatedly affected, and to the teachers working under difficult conditions, I'm truly sorry. Double session is not a minor inconvenience. It carries real consequences, and those realities must be acknowledged honestly. I also wanted to apologize again for the absence of the Department of Education leadership here tonight. When communities show up to voice concerns, they deserve to be heard directly by those responsible for the system. And I understand the frustration that many of you feel. I want to also say this plainly. I accept the responsibility for my share of where we are today, and government leadership collectively must own the urgency this situation requires. Despite these challenges, the students have shown remarkable resilience. Their perseverance is admirable, but they deserve stability, not prolonged disruption. Again, thank you again for your honesty, your patience, and your continued advocacy for your children. Have a great evening. This town hall is now adjourned. It is now 8:02 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Have a safe drive home.